So welcome back to the channel. I'm Sunny and this is Someone Else's Cloud. Before we get started, so I'm running this on WSL, running Ubuntu, which is running on Windows. And all we're going to do is install Gem and Jekyll, and then we're going to find a template and then create the repo and then deploy it. And that's pretty much it. So it's very straightforward. So let's get into this. So on the quick start guide for Jekyll, these are the commands that you need to run. Now I've already run this, but I'll run it again. So let me just clear this. What we'll do is we'll just quickly run this. So I've already installed this, but this is just going to flick through it again. Now, if you have a look, I've got a folder here. This is basically the theme that I have. So I paid for this theme. So these are where you can get the themes. So there's a whole bunch of themes here. Some are free, some are paid. Now I've chosen to buy one because generally when you buy one, it's generally built better. It looks more professional and there's a lot more flexibility and customizations. So this is a theme I bought. It's $49 US and pretty much it looks like this. So if you have a look, these are the files that I basically have. The cool thing about Jekyll is all the posts and everything are actually in Markdown. So you can see here, so it's a Markdown file. And you don't need to know HTML. And you can, if anyone's really used GitHub, you're generally familiar with a bit of Markdown. And then obviously just find cheat sheets to help. But this is all pretty much in Markdown besides stuff like this, obviously, but they've already got examples here. But they've got a whole bunch of other blogs here as well. With all templates, there's generally a config file and there's a settings file. So what we're going to do is modify the settings file. But what I'll show you first is what it actually looks like. If we go into the folder, so pretty much you can run a command, which is bundle exec Jekyll and serve. And this will pretty much serve it locally. Now this runs on port 4000. Now I had a weird issue where I Googled it and I couldn't find anything. Everyone's talking about Windows Firewall and having to forward your ports from Windows to WSL. But I had a really odd issue where I had this service, it's called IP Helper. And because that was running, it was conflicting on that port for some reason. So pretty much you stop the service and then you basically kill this or this serve process and then rerun it and it should be okay. But as you can see here, so this is what my template looks like. So this is what it currently looks like. So you can see here, it's got the author's details and this is pretty much the whole website, right? The blogs and all. But what we're going to do is we'll just kill this process and we'll go ahead and we will customize this YAML file. So we'll just call this demo website. These are basically the navigation links. So I don't want to use these links. So I'll get rid of all the pages and just leave the blog, work, and about. Basically going to add my name here. So we'll just replace that and replace this. And then I'll just update this graphic designer to a cloud engineer. And that's pretty much it. So we'll roll through it. There's a whole bunch of social media links. So, I'll remove my Pinterest one, my Vimeo, and generally you can add your actual profile links in this example. All these have enable options as well. So you can mark as false and it won't display them. So this is obviously in this theme only. So we're just going to remove this as well. And there's a whole bunch of other things. So having a paid theme has pre-built things so you don't have to figure them out, like MailChimp. There's a contact form, and there's Google Analytics even. Now I'm just going to clean up these testimonials. Let's just set it to say 3. Don't need that many testimonials. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So let me just copy something. So I've got some files as well. So I'm just copying some images. So that's pretty much our website done. Okay, so what we'll do next is we'll create a new repo. So what happens is I have to create a website called username, which is chasethesunshine.github.io. So I have to create this repo based on this, and this is actually going to be my domain. And if you create a repo that isn't named this, it will actually end up being this / your repo name as your website. So I just learned that because I was playing with the demos. So I'm going to create it and I'll show you when we configure it. So if we go to settings, you go to pages. So it's actually enabled by default here. It's going to be set to main and just root. So anything I put in here, it will basically just deploy straight away. So if you look here, the deploy part, you can use GitHub Actions if you want to do some more customizations. but I want to keep this as simple as possible. So what I'll do is I'll just clone this repo. Let's clone it. So you need to go to your theme directory, and then you can basically build from there. So we're going to build. So obviously the good thing about Jekyll is you can change your headers. So if you look here, you got pages and you got layouts. So there's also includes. So you can change your headers, your footers. You can change certain parts of your section. Obviously, you've got to figure this out. But if you have a look, I don't know if this is Ginger, because this looks very familiar. It looks very similar to Ginger, but it's pretty much a lot of if statements around the settings file. So obviously, if you set certain values, it will basically add them or not. So if I don't add this author avatar or this author value in my settings file, it's not going to add it. So it knows if you turn things on and off, which is pretty cool. So what we're going to do is we'll just publish this to the root directory. So pretty much what I do is I keep my template there, and then I modify it locally. I serve it, review it, and once it's okay, I'll basically do this and publish it, and then push it up, and then it'll republish my website. So that's how I operate at the moment, and I do just host it in GitHub Pages. The other video I did was just to show the different technologies and how they integrate, and I guess how you would potentially use them in the real world. That's been done. So let's go into our repo. So you can see all the files, they're all here now. So let's add it and then commit it, go new website. Just get a bit trigger happy typing it too fast. Okay, so that's pretty much done. So now if we go back to our repo and you click actions, you can see here that's gone and deployed something. Okay, so that's done. So if we just click on this, hopefully it works. And there you go. So that's what the website looks like. So I've gone and updated it, put some little pictures, and I've updated my little bio down here, which is a little banner. That's pretty much it. So it's pretty straightforward, and that didn't take too long. Obviously, you can spend more time customizing it. So I'll just talk about a couple of other things. So if you go to settings, obviously you saw under pages, you can actually add a custom domain name. If you want to add a custom domain name, you basically just add it. The other thing you need to do is configure your DNS to point to the GitHub servers. So I'll grab that link and I'll put it in the link below. Another thing is you can't enforce HTTPS. You need to wait at least 24 hours or so because a SSL certificate gets generated for you, which is pretty cool. So that means you don't even have to pay for an SSL certificate. Or you can just leave it and it'll just stay as this. Another thing is if you have a custom domain, so I didn't know this, what happens is when you enable it, it actually creates a file called CNAME and it puts your domain in there. In your template folder, you need to have the CNAME file in the root directory. So every time you publish it, it'll add it as well, because mine kept on resetting back to this domain. Just be aware of that. Make sure that that CNAME file exists if you want to use a custom domain. And that's pretty much it. So I thought I'd just run you through how you can create your own website, because I think it's important to sort of show some sort of initiative. Also, if you want to start a blog, even put your resume online or show projects that you're working on, or just have a splash page as an introduction to who you are and what you do. It's really up to you. You know, a domain name costs $20, or you can just use this github.io page and you've got a presence that just sits there. So I thought I'll just quickly show you that in case you wanted to build your own website, and this is the easier way. But anyways, I'm signing out and I'll catch you later. See ya!